Okay, so as we're kind of looking towards the 2025 NFL draft, you can't help but notice the noise around Coach Prime's team, right? The Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, definitely. The buzz has been building, and it feels like it really hit another level after the See You We Ain't Hard to Find showcase they put on.
Exactly. And for you listening, you sent us this great article about it. And it really breaks down how this maybe wasn't your typical spring practice.
No, not at all. The way it was set up, the structure, and, well, the impact it seems to have had on the draft stock for some of these CU guys, it suggests something pretty new, pretty innovative.
Right. And that's what we want to dig into today. What exactly was this See You We Ain't Hard to Find showcase? What made it different? And, how did it actually manage to boost the visibility and maybe even change the perception of these Colorado players for the NFL?
So we're going to unpack that using the article and looking at some of the specific players who apparently really shone.
Okay, so let's start with the big idea, the philosophy behind it all. Coach Prime's famous line, "We ain't hard to find."
Right. It's catchy, sure, but this article really argues it's more than that. It's like a core principle for how they're approaching getting guys ready for the next level for the draft.
Yeah, it's not just a tagline. The piece we read really emphasizes that for Coach Prime, visibility is, well, it's strategic. It's like currency.
Mm-hmm.
And this showcase, that was the strategy in action. This wasn't just rolling the balls out for a spring game. It was designed very intentionally as this big event,
Mm-hmm.
part media spectacle, part talent expo.
Cultural statement almost.
Exactly. All aimed squarely at lifting these players' draft prospects.
And it's that proactive element that's interesting. Instead of just, waiting for the scouts to show up for a standard pro day, they basically built an event that demanded attention. It's a bit of a power play.
Uh-huh.
And the article suggests the early signs are positive. Mentions of scouts buzzing, maybe even some mock drafts shifting a bit.
Yeah, seems like it. It's like they grabbed the reins on the whole narrative.
Yeah.
And a massive part of that was just the scale of it all. The article describes live streams on ESPN, Bleacher Report,
Wow.
NFL scouts everywhere, agents, big media names, even former NFL stars walking the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't just a local thing, it was national.
And if you put that in the draft context, think about how many players are eligible every single year. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. So many good players from smaller schools, maybe less hyped programs, they just get lost. This showcase basically forced a spotlight onto the Colorado guys for, well, everyone who matters in the NFL.
And it wasn't just that they were seen, it was how they were seen. The impression it made. The article brings up this Coach Prime effect on perception.
Which is really key. We all know players from, say, Alabama or Ohio State. They kind of get this built-in credibility, right? There's an assumption they're polished, pro-ready.
Yeah, the blue blood advantage.
So the question is, how do you build that same vibe when you're turning a program around? And Coach Prime seems to get that his own fame, his own credibility can kind of give his players that same bump.
Totally. When he says something about a player.
People listen,
Yeah.
especially in the NFL world. It's like instant validation almost.
Yeah. The article points that out. If Coach Prime says, this kid's a first rounder, or he's got unique skills, that carries real weight.
Yeah.
Because part of the story, part of how scouts and GMs might view that player right off the bat, for all the testing and interviews, it adds this cachet. Hard to measure, but definitely there.
And the showcase itself, the way it was run, seemed designed to back that up, to show the football skills, not just the raw athletic numbers.
Right. Your typical pro day can feel so
Sterile.
It's all about the 40 time, the vertical, the bench reps. Important stuff, sure, but
It doesn't always tell you if the guy can actually play football.
exactly.
Yeah.
But this showcase, based on the article, it was more of a hybrid. They mixed in the drills, yeah, but also position work, live scrimmaging, situational stuff. They let him play.
And the examples in the piece are pretty telling. Like Xavier Weaver, the receiver, projected day 2 pick.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't just about him running routes perfectly against cones. It was seeing him understand the concepts, make tough catches with defenders nearby, get yards after the catch against their own top corners. That game-like context,
Yeah.
way more valuable.
Or Jeremiah Hughes, the outside linebacker, maybe more of a sleeper pick initially.
Yeah, him too. The article highlights how he apparently dominated in the live pass rush drills, showing that bend, that burst, the hand fighting. You don't really see that hitting a bag.
No way.
This gave him a stage to show those specific pass rushing traits NFL teams are desperate for. It's a perfect example of how doing things differently can really spotlight certain skill sets.
Just makes sense, right? Let football players play football. See how they think, how they react, how they execute when things are moving fast.
And the environment they did it in, that seems like a factor too. The article mentioned it being a controlled spotlight without the intense pressure of the combine. That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah, because the combine it's a meat market. It's
Yeah.
high stress.
Totally. Guys are tired, unfamiliar place, every team watching every tiny move. Not everyone shines there.
Mm.
But the CU showcase, that was home turf. Familiar coaches, teammates.
Stands to reason you'd perform better, maybe cleaner, more consistently when you're comfortable, less anxiety messing things up.
And the article notes, for guys maybe on the draft bubble, a couple of really good reps in that familiar setting, feeling good, that can make a huge difference. Drafted versus undrafted.
It links right into how scouts look at player growth, too. They're not just evaluating now, they're projecting later.
Exactly. They want to see that upward curve. And the showcase was a chance for CU to put that progress on display.
Yeah, the article gave examples like Travis J., the corner, showing better instincts, more physicality.
And Syviant Wilkerson, the running back, better ball security, seeing the holes better.
And Bishop Thomas on the D-line, improved footwork, better pad level. Little things, maybe, but they show development.
Those are exactly the kinds of tangible improvements scouts latch onto. It tells them the player's coachable, still getting better, team's draft trajectory.
And this showcase let Colorado basically say, look how far these guys have come under our coaching. Very public demonstration.
Then there's this other angle the article gets into, controlling the media narrative, which sounds a bit cynical, maybe, but probably true.
Well, yeah, leading up to the draft, it's all chatter, right? Rumors, old takes, speculation. Coach Prime in this showcase, it's like they just stepped in and said, okay, here's the story. Here's the latest data point.
Instead of letting old game film or maybe some negative buzz define the player, they created this new, big, visible moment. The article really pushes that idea. A strong showcase could overwrite old perceptions, highlight stuff people missed.
And controlling the narrative also helped clarify roles for some guys, right? Position identity.
Yeah, that's crucial. NFL teams want to know exactly where a guy fits. Is he a true tight end? Can he play outside corner? Vagueness can hurt a player's stock.
Like the example of Michael Harrison, the tight end.
Yeah.
Maybe seen as just a big receiver before.
Right. But the showcase apparently really featured his blocking improvements. So now he looks like a more complete tight end. More valuable.
Artur Stoutmire, the DB,
Yeah.
showed he could handle man coverage on the outside, not just be a nickel guy. That broadens his appeal significantly.
Definitely. Makes him a more versatile piece, easier for a team to plug him in. Clear roles matter.
Okay, this next bit is really modern, kind of fascinating. The article talks about the crossover between NIL marketing and draft visibility.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, maybe even unexpected benefit. These guys are already building their own brands with NIL deals.
Yeah.
And then this huge showcase comes along, broadcast nationally, focused on the NFL. It just amplified everything, kind of synergistic.
Totally. You picture guys in their personalized gear, maybe their own highlight reels playing during warm-ups, the hype videos online.
They're not just numbers on a roster anymore. They have some name recognition, maybe a fan following already.
And this showcase pushed that onto the NFL stage. Does that actually influence a pick? Maybe indirectly? The article hints that maybe teams are slightly more willing to reach for a guy their fans already know. Adds a little something extra.
It's that familiarity factor. Maybe even marketability. Coach Prime gets branding, gets visibility, and this showcase seems like a clever way to weave that into the draft process itself.
And beyond the TV cameras and the hype, the article also mentions the behind-the-scenes stuff. Scout access, relationship building.
Oh yeah, that's super important. Not just putting on a show, but letting scouts really talk to the coaches, the trainers, the strength staff.
Get the inside scoop.
Exactly. Ask the tough questions. Character, work ethic, injuries, how they handle coaching. Stuff you don't get from a 40-time, but stuff teams need to know before investing a high pick.
And running a smooth professional event like this, it builds trust. It tells NFL teams this program knows what it's doing, they're serious about developing pros, that credibility matters.
And you got to think about the ripple effect, long term, for recruiting.
Oh, absolutely. The article points that out. This showcase, especially if it leads to guys getting drafted higher, that's a powerful message to send to high school kids.
It's not just hype about Coach Prime anymore. It's tangible proof. Come to Colorado, you get this platform, you get seen, you get a real shot at the league.
Yeah, it backs up the talk. Shows they can execute, not just promise visibility. That's huge for recruiting battles.
Okay, so the article also spent some time highlighting specific players who really seem to boost their stock at this thing. We should probably run through those.
Yeah, definitely. First up, obviously, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback. Everyone's watching him.
Top prospect, yeah.
And the report suggests he looked the part. A 30-minute throwing session showing accuracy, arm strength, crucially, operating both from shotgun and under center. That apparently really solidified his top status.
And that under center part is key. A lot of college QBs don't do much of it anymore, but many NFL offenses still rely on it, showing you can handle both. That ticks a big box for scouts. Shows adaptability.
Then, Travis Hunter, the big-time two-way guy, Heisman buzz. It didn't do defensive drills, apparently.
Okay.
But his offensive work, the route running, the footwork, the speed, agility, sounds like it really impressed scouts anyway. Just reinforce how freaky talented he is.
Well, yeah, with a guy that unique, any chance to see that athleticism up close, even just on one side of the ball for this event, it just underlines his potential. Hard to ignore.
Jimmy Horn Jr., the receiver.
Yeah.
Got a specific shout-out, too. For quickness, ability to get open and create separation.
Always valuable. Can you be your man? Can you get open consistently? That's what NFL teams need to see. A showcase like this lets you see it live.
Uh-huh. Then on D, Levante Bentley, the linebacker. Strong showing, apparently. Good strength, good agility. Looked good in tackling and lateral movement drills.
That combo is what you want in a modern linebacker, right? Power for the run, fluidity for coverage. Showing both is big.
Shane Cokes, defensive lineman, also stood out, article says. Showed power, but also good technique. Looked disruptive.
Yeah, that blend is important. Not just raw power, but knowing how to use it. Shows coaching, shows NFL readiness.
And a couple more receivers. Will Shepard, good routes, contested catches. And Shilo Sanders, the safety, showing versatility, making plays.
Sounds like quite a few guys really stepped up and made the most of the opportunity.
Yeah, it seems like across the board, a lot of buffs put out strong performances that caught the eyes of the scouts there.
Exactly. And the article's main point is that these individual performances, combined with the whole strategic setup of the showcase, the visibility, it likely made a real positive difference to their draft outlooks.
So, wrapping it up, this CU We Ain't Hard to Find showcase, it really feels like more than just a flashy PR stunt.
Yeah, it seems like it was this really thought-out strategy, using visibility in a smart way, actively shaping how people saw their players.
And giving them this unique stage to show what they can do, maybe in a way that the Combine or a standard pro day doesn't quite capture.
It definitely went beyond just timing sprints and measuring jumps. It was more holistic, more football-specific, and maybe, like the article suggests, a bit more tailored to letting players shine in a comfortable setting.
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? Seeing how well this seemed to work for Colorado, are other programs going to start thinking differently, maybe trying similar things to showcase their guys?
It's possible. And what does this tell us about how college football, the media machine, and the NFL draft are all interconnected and, well, maybe changing? It's definitely a fascinating development to keep an eye on.